Have you ever walked out to your garden or field in the early morning, expecting to see a flush of beautiful, heavy tomatoes, only to find the skins split wide open or the bottoms covered in an ugly, black, leathery patch? It is incredibly frustrating to invest months of love and hard work into your plants, only to watch your harvest ruin right before your eyes. Most of us immediately assume our soil is missing expensive nutrients, or that some strange disease has taken over the patch. We race to the store to buy chemical sprays and heavy fertilizers, hoping to save what is left. But here is the honest truth that might shock you. The biggest threat to your tomato harvest is not a lack of expensive chemicals, and it is not some incurable blight. It is a simple, everyday routine that almost every household gets wrong, and it happens entirely through the way we water our plants. Before we dive into how you can fix this today, with simple things already sitting in your kitchen, I want to invite you to join our growing family by subscribing to the channel so we can keep sharing these honest, practical gardening secrets together. I always love knowing who is sitting across from me, so please take a quick moment to drop your city, village, district, or country down in the comments below. We have an incredible community of everyday households, passionate backyard growers, and hardworking farmers tuning in from all corners of the world. And seeing your location helps all of us realize just how connected we are by our shared love for the earth. It is easy to see why so many of us fall into the trap of watering our tomatoes a little bit every single day. If you have been doing this for years, please do not feel bad, because it is exactly what most of us were taught when we first started out. It feels natural to think that giving a plant a quick drink every afternoon keeps it refreshed, especially when the summer sun is beating down and the soil looks dusty. But beneath the surface, away from our eyes, this daily routine is quietly starving your plants. A healthy, mature tomato plant is naturally designed to send its roots several feet deep into the dark, cool earth to search for moisture and stability. When you sprinkle the ground lightly every day, the water only dampens the very top inch of the soil, never reaching the depths where the plant truly needs it. Your tomato roots, being smart, quickly realize the only moisture is at the very top, so they stop growing downward and instead stay clustered right near the surface. This creates a weak, shallow root system that leaves your tomatoes incredibly vulnerable. When the true summer heat hits, that top inch of soil bakes dry within minutes, leaving those shallow roots scorched, stressed, and unable to cope. That constant, rapid cycle of swinging between bone-dry soil and a quick splash of surface water causes a massive amount of stress to the entire plant. You will start noticing the lower leaves turning a sad, pale yellow, the bright yellow blossoms dropping off before they can even set fruit, and the tomatoes themselves staying frustratingly small. The real secret to breaking this cycle is switching to a routine of deep, slow watering. Personally, I would much rather see you water your tomato plants thoroughly 2 or 3 times a week than give them a shallow splash every single day. When you pour water deeply and slowly, the moisture sinks far down into the earth, and the roots eagerly follow it downward, creating a massive, resilient foundation that can handle the hottest summer days without flinching. But here is where it gets really interesting, because you do not need any expensive irrigation equipment to achieve this perfect, deep moisture. In fact, one of my absolute favorite old-school tricks uses something you probably throw into the recycling bin every single week: an empty plastic water bottle or a clean plastic milk jug from your kitchen. Instead of letting those bottles go to waste, take a small nail or a thick needle and poke several tiny holes around the bottom and sides of the container. Next, dig a small hole right next to your tomato plant and bury the bottle so that only the neck and the cap are sticking up above the dirt. When it is time to water, simply unscrew the cap and fill the bottle to the top with your garden hose or a watering pitcher. Over the next few hours, the water will slowly and gently seep out of those tiny holes, bypassing the surface entirely and delivering moisture directly to the deep root zone where it matters most. It costs absolutely nothing, prevents water from evaporating in the hot sun, and teaches your roots to dive deep into the earth. If you are a home gardener with a few pots on a balcony or a backyard raised bed, you can easily place one bottle next to each plant. If you are a small-scale farmer tending to long rows of tomatoes, you can collect larger jugs from your neighbors and place them between your plants to create a highly effective, completely free subsurface irrigation system across your entire field. Most people throw another incredible resource away without realizing what it can do for their soil, and that is the organic waste right from their own yards. Once you have watered your plants deeply, you want to make sure that moisture stays in the ground as long as possible, and the best way to do that is by laying down a thick blanket of mulch. You do not need to buy fancy, colored wood chips from a garden center. You can use simple, everyday items like dried grass clippings from your lawn, crushed autumn leaves, or even clean, weed-free straw. Taking a generous handful of these rough, textured materials and spreading them 3 inches thick around the base of your plants completely transforms the environment. It acts as a shield against the blazing sun, keeping the soil beautifully cool and preventing the water from baking away into the air. For a household or home gardener, this means you will spend far less time dragging the hose around, and your plants will remain completely relaxed, even during severe heat waves. For a farmer managing a larger acreage, laying down organic mulch across your rows reduces your water usage by half, drastically cuts down the time spent weeding, and prevents the soil from compacting after a heavy downpour. Your grandmother probably knew this next one, but somehow it got forgotten along the way because we became so reliant on buying commercial products in plastic bottles. Have you ever noticed a dark, sunken, leathery black spot forming right on the bottom of your tomatoes just as they start to ripen? That heartbreaking condition is called blossom end rot, and while many people mistake it for a contagious disease or a fungus, it is actually a nutritional issue caused entirely by erratic watering. Tomatoes need a steady supply of calcium to build the walls of their fruit, and they can only absorb that calcium from the soil through water. When the soil swings violently between being completely dry and soaking wet, the plant cannot pull the calcium up, and the fruit collapses at the base. You can fix this beautifully using nothing more than ordinary white vinegar and leftover eggshells from your morning breakfast. Eggshells are packed full of pure calcium, but if you just throw them into the dirt, they take years to break down. To make that calcium immediately available to your suffering plants, crush your dry eggshells into a fine powder and mix 1 tablespoon of the powder with 2 tablespoons of white vinegar in a small cup. You will see it bubble up immediately, which is the acid in the vinegar breaking down the shell and releasing the calcium. Once the bubbling stops, pour that mixture into a gallon of water and stir it thoroughly. For home gardeners, give each tomato plant a good drink of this solution right at the base. If you are a farmer, you can scale this up by using a larger barrel, maintaining the same ratio, and running it through your watering lines. Applying this homemade calcium drink once every 2 weeks during the early spring and summer ensures your tomatoes have the strength to resist blossom end rot completely. But what about those frustrating moments when your tomatoes look absolutely beautiful on the vine, and then a sudden summer rain causes them to split wide open right before you can pick them? Cracking happens because the soil becomes too dry, and when a large volume of water suddenly arrives, the roots drink it up so fast that the inside of the fruit swells quicker than the outer skin can stretch. To prevent this, you have to stop watering on a strict calendar schedule and start reading the soil itself. It is a classic mistake to water every single Tuesday and Friday, regardless of what the weather is doing, because cloudy days, unexpected humidity, or a cool night completely changes how much water a plant uses. Instead of guessing, use the simplest tool you have, your own finger. Push your finger 2 or 3 inches deep into the soil, right near the base of the plant. If the earth feels cool, dark, and slightly damp, step away and wait another day or 2 before watering. But if it feels dry and powdery all the way down, you know it is time for a deep, thorough soak. When you do apply your water, the timing and the direction make all the difference in the world. Always make an effort to water your plants early in the morning, before the sun gets high in the sky. Morning watering allows the water to sink deep into the ground before the heat of the day causes it to evaporate, giving your tomatoes a full reservoir of moisture to draw from during the hottest afternoon hours. It also ensures that if any water accidentally splashes onto the leaves, it has plenty of time to dry completely before the cool evening arrives. Wet leaves sitting in the dark are an open invitation for fungal diseases and blights to take hold and destroy your garden. You should also always aim your water directly at the base of the plant, right where the stem meets the ground, rather than spraying the whole bush from above. The leaves do not need a bath. It is the hidden roots down in the dark earth that are thirsty. We also need to remember that overwatering can look almost identical to underwatering, which leads many well-meaning growers into a dangerous trap. When a tomato plant receives too much water, and the soil stays constantly muddy and waterlogged, the roots cannot get the oxygen they need to breathe, and they literally begin to drown. As the roots suffocate, the leaves of the plant will start to droop and turn a sickly yellow, looking exactly like a plant that is dying for a drink. If you mistake this for underwatering and rush out to add even more water, you will quickly rot the root system entirely and kill the plant. The easiest way to tell the difference is to check your plants first thing in the morning. It is completely normal for a healthy tomato plant to wilt slightly during a scorching summer afternoon, as a way to protect itself from the intense heat. But if you walk out to your garden early in the morning, before the sun has warmed the air, and the leaves are still hanging limp and tired, that is your definitive sign that the plant truly needs a deep, slow drink of water. As your plants grow from tiny seedlings into massive, fruit-bearing vines, their relationship with water will naturally change, and you must adapt alongside them. Young tomato plants have very small, delicate root systems that sit close to the top of the dirt, so early in the growing season, they actually benefit from being watered a little more frequently with smaller amounts of water. But as the weeks pass and those vines stretch toward the sky, you must consciously transition your routine, watering them less often but much more deeply each time. By the time your plants are fully mature and loaded with heavy green fruit, they will easily require 1 to 2 gallons of water per plant during the peak of hot weather. The goal is never to keep the soil constantly wet and soggy like a sponge, but rather to keep it evenly moist, like a wrung-out washcloth, allowing the perfect balance of moisture and oxygen to feed the roots. Bringing these simple, thoughtful habits into your daily routine will completely transform your relationship with your land. Whether you are tending to a single, cherished tomato plant in a plastic pot on your kitchen balcony, managing a beautiful backyard kitchen garden that feeds your family, or overseeing rows of crops across a multi-acre farm to supply your local community, the laws of nature remain exactly the same. Tomatoes do not ask for expensive, complicated chemical interventions. They simply ask for consistency, a little bit of patience, and a deep, slow drink of water delivered exactly where they need it most. By stepping away from the habit of quick, shallow daily watering and embracing these resourceful household solutions, you will be rewarded with stronger plants, fewer frustrating diseases, and a massive, heavy harvest of sweet, juicy tomatoes that you can be truly proud of sharing. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And if these practical tips brought value to your day, please consider subscribing to the channel so we can continue learning and growing together as a community. Don't forget to share your location in the comments below if you haven't already, because whether you are watching from a high-rise apartment balcony in the city or from the edge of a beautiful, wide-open country field, your presence